life.
If it's the end of the world, I will do better next time. Oh yeah, I know it. Yeah, I know it. If it's the end of the world, I know that I have lived my life to the fullest. Yeah, the fullest. We stood on top of mountains. We've been to space before. We had our dogs and houses.
TikTok is the most powerful tool to ever be put in the hands of the people in recorded history, and that's why the government wants to ban it. Because of this app, there's a powerful collective consciousness that exists amongst the middle and lower class parts of society that's never existed before. And the government's shitting its pants. I haven't watched the news in 2 years. If I want the truth, I come here. We're pulling back the curtain on the elite. We're learning how to get out of debt. We're discussing 4-day work weeks. We're talking about organizing, about boycotts, about unions. Not only that, but this app has disrupted Hollywood. TikTok isn't competing with Facebook and Instagram. It's competing with Netflix. Not to mention the juggernaut that is our failed American healthcare system has taken an absolute beating on this app. It's thrown a spotlight onto the deep-seated corruption of American politics. The government lets us keep our guns because it knows that the real weapon is knowledge. Knowledge is power. That's why they're coming for this app. They don't want us to have it. They don't want us to have a collective consciousness. But you can't unring the bell. Even if they delete this app, another one's gonna take its place. Here's a few right here. Clapper, Huddles, and Likey, to name a few. Sorry, government. The people have power now, and there's no going back for us.
Question on TikTok. Over 100 million people now use this app. What is your message to them about why you're so concerned?
The way she casually thumbs through her notebook without even looking at the pages, knowing there's nothing in there that's going to help her with probably the most important question anyone has asked her in weeks. As she tries to act like it's just some run-of-the-mill question. Oh, by the way, TikTok. You're the press secretary. You're all things media. You're obsessed with the media. TikTok has 100 million users that use it for 90 minutes a day. You know this is huge. She tries to play it down like it's practically nothing.
Said he wasn't sure if the U.S. should ban TikTok when he was asked about this. Now the administration seems to be hardening its stance. You're backing this legislation, as you mentioned. We've learned, now warning that a possible ban could be at risk here. What?
The key part of that, like it usually is, what changed? I'll tell you what changed. TikTok didn't start collecting any kind of data that it wasn't already collecting before. It's also not collecting data that a million other companies don't harvest and sell in nice, tight, neat little packages to all kinds of people around the world, which are freely available. I don't think that China went out of its way to create an app in order to track and monitor stuff that's widely available on the market already. Would have been a lot more cost effective for them to just go buy it. But what they did do was give Americans the ability to communicate with each other. And what has been happening, as she mentioned, there's 100 million users now, 90 minutes a day, using this platform to communicate with each other. That is a huge threat. And not to the Americans, not to the individuals who are communicating their ideas to one another, but to the administration in power. And that's why this is a bipartisan bill that she's so proud to keep pointing out. It's bipartisan because both parties in power agree that it's dangerous for the American people to communicate their ideas to one another without their control. See, it's fine when it's the mainstream media that they have control over. It's fine when it's Twitter and Facebook and other companies that they have control over, but it's not fine when it's a company they don't have control over. Twitter was okay before, now Twitter's a problem because it's no longer controlled by the U.S. government. See how this works? This is probably the biggest question she's ever been asked in her career, and she has to know it. She's a press secretary of the United States of America. TikTok is a really big deal. It's way bigger than any conversation they've ever had from that podium about anything.
Let's talk about the TikTok ban, because in my opinion, this is actually a huge positive for the United States, because whether you thought you were Republican or thought you were Democrat, if you thought you were red or blue or left or right, this has shown us that politicians don't represent any of us. They don't want us talking to each other. They want us to hate each other because I don't know if you know this, but the powers that were granted to Joe Biden were granted to him bipartisanly, meaning politicians on both the left and the right voted for him to have the authority to ban the app in the United States. And I think it's because of a couple things. But the first and most important reason is because they do not want us talking to each other. I don't know if anybody remembers what it was like to live in the United States pre-2008, post-2003. Gen Z doesn't remember. But you know what? It was a pretty good time to be in the US. After 2008, politicians, universities, and the media taught us all how to hate each other again. I'm getting tongue-tied here, but basically what happened is 2008 was the financial collapse. And after the financial collapse, we all looked around and we were like, wait a minute. The people that caused this financial crisis, that cost people their homes, their families in some cases, and in some cases their lives, the people that caused it, the Wall Street elites, they got bailed out by US taxpayers and the government. Nobody there went to jail. So we all looked around and we were like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? And so a movement started called Occupy Wall Street, and it made a lot of sense. It wasn't about eating the rich. It wasn't about becoming a communist country. At the beginning, it made a lot of sense. It was about like, okay, where's the government? The government's supposed to protect the people from these sharks on Wall Street, but they're in bed with them. But almost immediately, Occupy Wall Street got co-opted by blue-haired hippies who just screamed nonsense and took dumps on cop cars. And you can't take a movement like that seriously. So we didn't, and we forgot about it. And almost immediately after that, something happened in the United States. It's been going on ever since. The US got hollowed out like Swiss cheese through identity politics, and we all were divided into these camps that by definition had to hate the other people. We haven't been able to get along since then, and one day we wake up and inflation is through the roof. You can't afford to put a roof over your head even if you're working 3 jobs. It's no longer enough to just want to be left alone, make your money, raise your family, and leave other people alone. No, like you got to get sucked into these identity politics arguments based on the color of our skin, what is or isn't between our legs, and what we want people to call us. It's ridiculous. But honestly, I think all of this has been by design because the media, the people in government, the people in big business don't want us talking to each other. Because I can't tell you how many TikTok videos I have seen put out by people on the opposite side of the political aisle as me, and it's changed my mind because I'm like, man, I've never heard anybody say it that way before. That actually makes a lot of sense. I have realized on this app post-2020 that left or right, we're not any different from each other. We all just want to be happy and be left alone. But the government moving to ban TikTok is the ultimate signal that the government and big business, and especially Mark Zuckerberg, who's been making money selling our data to the Chinese, because guess what? Newsflash. The Chinese already have our data. Facebook and Instagram, they've been selling it to the Chinese for a long time. So the whole national security threat over our data being owned by the Chinese is like totally false. But that's besides the point. The point that I'm trying to make here, excuse me. The point here is that extreme left and extreme right in this country, they're the same people, just in different costumes. But regular Americans, we could all get along if we were just able to talk to each other. TikTok, ironically, because it's owned by the Chinese, is the only app in the United States where we can do that. There are so many news stories that I've picked up on this app that haven't been covered by any other news outlets. And honestly, I get the suspicious idea that other news outlets pick up stories because they have to, because it's being covered by people who are on the ground, on site, sharing what's happening on TikTok. And if TikTok gets banned, it's just proof that the government doesn't want us talking to each other. It has nothing to do with data. Guess who's collecting our data that's the real problem? The NSA. And if you think that you're on the right political side of this argument because, well, Trump didn't ban TikTok, he was trying to. Everybody in office, Republican and Democrat, they're doing this together. They don't represent you. They don't represent me. They don't represent freedom, whatever that means to you. We have so many issues in this country that are literally tearing it apart, from identity politics to racism to sexism to homophobia, transphobia, the right to have an abortion, the right to smoke pot. And at the end of the day, these are all issues that adults should be able to make for their own selves. Adults making decisions for their bodies. And we've let these people in power convince us that anyone who has a different idea about that is the enemy. And we can't work through it by speaking with each other, because the only people that get to speak are the wackos on CNN, far left, or the wackos on Fox, far right. We don't get any kind of discourse from people in the middle, which is most of us in the United States. So if you feel like super frustrated about this TikTok ban, there's something you can do. You can delete your Facebook account, you can delete your Instagram account, and you can cancel politicians. Vote independent this upcoming election cycle. Like, what are we doing? Are we really going to have another Republican in office? Are we going to really do another Joe Biden? I don't care what your politics are. You shouldn't care what my politics are. We can all agree that the last 8 years have been a shit show in the United States, and we've had both left and right in office, and we keep moving the same direction. Left foot forward, right foot forward, and it doesn't get any better for anyone except for the people that are already at the top. And they're the ones that are pushing for this TikTok ban. And that should tell you something about what this means for all of us and whose interests politicians actually have at heart. Think about it.
TikTok CEO just dragged Meta through the mud when asked if he would sell TikTok. Check it out.
I don't think ownership is the issue here. With a lot of respect, American social companies don't have a good track record with data privacy and user security. I mean, look at Facebook and Cambridge Analytica. Just one example. So I do think that, it is not about the ownership. It is a lot about making sure we have Project Texas, making sure that we're protecting and firewalling US user data from unwanted foreign access, giving third parties to come in to have a look at this, and making sure that everybody is comfortable.
Why the hysteria and the panic and the targeting of TikTok? As we know, Republicans in particular have been sounding the alarm, creating a red scare around China. They've been doing it in a variety of ways when it comes to economic competition, when it comes to semiconductor manufacturing, and when it comes to technology. In terms of TikTok's behavior and its risk to national security, it poses about the same threat that companies like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Twitter pose. So let's not marginalize and target TikTok.
Our government is trying to restrict our freedom of speech and expression like never before. 100 million Americans, 1 out of every 3 Americans uses TikTok. When President Trump tried to ban TikTok several years ago, it was sent to the courts and they blocked it. But our politicians now have written the legislation so that the courts cannot intervene. This is government overreach that reeks of Big Brother, where our politicians are telling us that they know better than we do what's good for us. But we are a free country. We're not China, North Korea, or Russia. Here are some simple steps to tell our government that they should not do what they are trying to do to us. First is to send a message to your congressperson. Go to house.gov and put your zip code in here to look up who your congressperson is. That person will show up and then send an email right through here. Second is to send a message to your 2 senators. Go to senate.gov and then find your senators, put your state in, and it will give you your 2 senators. And from there, you can click the contact form to send them a message. Third, you can send a message to the president himself. Go to whitehouse.gov, hit menu, it will open this menu up, and then go to the contact us portion and leave a message. And finally, I just started a petition on change.org to stop the TikTok ban. If you can take a second to sign the petition, it will tell our government that there are 100 million Americans who do not want them to ban TikTok. There's a link in my profile that will take you to it.
Are you guys watching TikTok CEO Shou Chew? I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Testify before the Congressional Committee. Y'all, this is wild because everything they accusing TikTok of doing, Facebook, Instagram, and all that, they've been doing it for years. Getting all our personal information. I mean, what's different? And y'all, I'm not even one for all those wild conspiracy theories. But I am convinced that just because everybody's getting together and talking to each other on TikTok, whether we agree or not, everybody's on here different. I do believe that's why they're trying to shut it down. And then you got Mark Zuckerberg and all them folks jealous because they are losing traction. And if anyone on the congressional committee is listening or any news outlets, let me tell you this. It's young people on here, lots of young people, but it's also older people on here like me. We getting our second career started on here. It's a hobby for us. So you're going to have a whole lot of folks mad. I'm talking about Democrat, Republican, and Independent. If y'all get rid of TikTok. Now, they talk about stealing my personal information. Now, baby, if TikTok want to steal my personal information, that's cool. Because they'll only be practicing. They ain't going to get nothing because I don't have nothing for them to get. It is not that serious. But I don't care who you are, Democrat, Republican, or otherwise. Write your congressional leaders and tell them to shut that down. That we do enjoy TikTok. A lot of us are doing our entrepreneurships on TikTok. It's actually taught me a lot. Keeps me up with technology. I get to meet people all over the world. And it's just much cooler than Facebook. You know what? My Facebook friends, I don't even have them as my TikTok friends. Facebook is Facebook and TikTok is TikTok. I like to keep the two separate. You're welcome.
So I've watched the congressional hearing with the TikTok CEO, and I have beef with our congressmen and women because these people already have their mind made up. They're basically asking him questions just to justify banning this app, and I'm telling you, it's going to get banned. These old crusty politicians do not represent me. These people don't know how to use their phones. They don't know how filters work. Literally crusty ass Buddy Carter was like, oh, do filters use eye tracking technology? Yes, bro. The filter needs to know where your eyes are in order to work. You're using the front camera to know where people's eyes are? Yeah. They're trying to blame TikTok for bad parenting, mental health issues, all these terrible challenges that have led to, kids not being alive anymore that haven't even started on TikTok. They're just like, we want to protect the kids. But it's like these people are so passionate about protecting the kids from this app, but they don't want to protect them from guns. How does that make sense? And they're like, oh, but we don't want China to have access to our data. They can just buy it. If they want your data, they can just buy it. How do you think these social media companies make money? Yes, from ads, but they also make it from selling your information, dumbass. And I've watched the last 30 minutes of the first 2 hours of a 4-hour hearing, and I can tell you that it's looking bad. They're going to ban this app. And it makes me so sad because I love this app so much. I get on here and I shit post and I watch funny videos and I learn a lot. I've learned so much from this app. It's crazy. And if these people really cared about the kids, then they would have every single social media CEO in there. But no, because it's connected to China, they want to fearmonger and just attack this app. This is a message to you, Mark Zuckerfucker. This is your fault. And if this app goes down, I'm telling you right now, I'm deleting all Meta shit because all your apps are ass. I will take my talents to Truth Social, okay? I do not care. I can't believe you would do this before I hit 100K. You're a bitch. And I just want to end with this message. Now, I'm not a China apologist, but as the world's most powerful country, the US needs to be more self-confident instead of being so afraid of an app loved by young people. And you can run and tell that, homeboy.
I want to talk specifically, can you tell me right now, can you say with 100% certainty that TikTok does not use the phone's camera to determine whether the content that elicits a pupil dilation should be amplified by the algorithm? Can you tell me that?
We do not collect body, face, or voice data to identify our users. We do not.
You don't?
No. The only face data that you'll get, that we collect, is when you use the filters to have, say, sunglasses on your face. We need to know where your eyes are. And
why do you need to know what the eyes are if you're not seeing if they're dilated?
And that data is stored on your local device and deleted after use if you use it for facial. Again, we do not collect body, face, or voice data to identify our users.
I find that hard to believe. It's our understanding that they're looking at the eyes. How do you determine what age they are then?
We rely on age gating as our key age assurance.
Age
gating, which is when you ask the user what age they are. We have also developed some tools where we look at their public profile to go through the videos that they post to see whether...
Well, that's creepy. Tell me more about that.
It's public. So if you post a video, you choose that video to go public, that's how you get people to see your video. We look at those to see if it matches up the age that you talked about.
So I'm watching the hearing on TikTok with the US government. I am ashamed of these people that we have elected, and this includes both the Democrats and the Republicans. If they were worried about American information, then they should not have Facebook, Twitter, and all of these other American companies that have all of our information already. The stupidity of the questions that they're asking this man is just unbelievable. The bottom line is they do not want us as Americans talking to one another, and the news media, Mark Zuckerberg, and all of these other American companies have been lobbying Congress to ban TikTok because none of them have been able to replicate this app. So instead of trying to ban TikTok, why are these motherfuckers not asking, where is the American ingenuity? Isn't the white man supposed to be so superior to everybody else? It's all crap. And if they ban TikTok, and I'm going to say this to Joe Biden, you will not be president in 2024. You will be voted out. Because TikTok is not doing anything except getting Americans' information. National security, my ass. In the meantime, you have all of these Russia and everybody else who are infiltrating and cyber criminals doing everything else, getting information. Even Experian, all of these credit card companies that they have infiltrated, our information is already out there. Who are you trying to fool? We know that you know that all of our information is out there. Stop this bullshit. We're sick of this shit. All of us are sick of it. Go get some white men together and become geniuses and make another TikTok.